And good evening. Welcome to the University of Dubuque Football Show, the final show for the 2025 season here from Chalmers Field, as we're going to talk about a Spartan victory to end the season as they defeated the Luther College Norse by the score of 27-20 in the 90th and final meeting between these two teams for the foreseeable future anyway. But the Spartans celebrated victory at the end of the season, 27-20 over the Luther College Norse. And Ryan Mayeri, coach of the Spartans, joins me. And Coach, I know it wasn't the easiest one you've ever gotten, but at the end of the day, it's a W in the win column, and I guess that's what counts.
Yeah, definitely. And I was proud of our guys for being resilient through it. There was, it's kind of been our whole season, like we were just talking about. It's like the whole game was like a microcosm of the previous 9 games, and our guys did a good job of responding, battling through the adversity and some troubling spots that we put ourselves in even at times, and we found a way to battle through that. So I'm really proud of our guys to find a way to battle through that and have a nice, tough, gritty, tough win. And yeah.
The game wasn't determined until the final minutes. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But, going to the first half of the game, 14-14, halftime score. You both scored twice in that second quarter, a scoreless first quarter. And then they scored first, but then you put back-to-back touchdowns together with a big play on the defensive side of the ball, or special teams, a block punt and a return.
Yeah, and, the game started out, they went for an onside kick, which is something that they do pretty regularly, so we were well prepared for that. And, we had a chance to go down, and we got in the red zone right away. We had an errant snap that kind of went over our heads and took us out of scoring position. And we battled back to get down in the red zone again out of that, and we came away with no points. Defense did a really good job for the most part in that. In the first quarter, gave us plenty of opportunities. We weren't able to capitalize on those. And it kind of, just went back and forth. And in the second quarter, things started to open up. They scored first, and we answered right away, which was great to see. They got a touchdown, but we went back and responded, tied things up at 7. And then we got a nice block punt for a touchdown, make it 14-7. They drove down. We got a great stop defensively. We chose to try to put a 2-minute drive together and threw a pick. That put us in a bad spot, and then ended up scoring like right before the half. So we go into halftime 14, potentially up 14-7, maybe put a drive together and get some more points to separate us. And then we throw the pick, and they end up tying up the game. So you go into halftime kind of like, dang, we did all this work, got ourselves out of the hole, and then just put them right back in the game. And that was a little disappointing going into halftime. I believe we did a good job at halftime getting our guys back ready, and we came out swinging in the second half to give ourselves another lead, and then we kind of squandered that away.
Back to that first half, Joey Romberg scored on a 1-yard touchdown run. I think he had his most productive day running the football for you, nearly 100 yards of rushing, I think.
Yeah, he had, I think, 94 or 96 yards rushing or something like that. And we schemed up some things to let him run with the football. Unfortunately, that led to an injury with him. So that made things interesting in the fourth quarter for us. But, yeah, he had a great game, on the ground. We blocked well up front in terms of that stuff. We were able to formation some things to give us some opportunities in the run game with the quarterback stuff, and those things panned out well.
Back to the block punt that put you up 14-7 at the time. Talk about that play.
Yeah, I believe it was Davian Flentroy. He did a great job. He's been outstanding in all facets of our team, with special teams and then definitely on defense. And he made a great play, got a block, and it went probably like 30 feet in the air. It felt like almost like we had to return it as a punt returner. And Jeremiah Spear, a freshman for us, did a great job getting under the football, catching the ball, and then taking it to the house. That was a huge momentum shift because, it was kind of like back and forth at that point, 7-7 game. And to get a big play like that on special teams, that can change the tide real quickly.
It was a dreary day, lots of clouds, had some rain probably, and the wind. Was the weather a pretty big factor?
I don't think it was like a huge factor. It got really slick in the second half. That's when it started to get a little more challenging, I think. Like the ball was getting slippery. That led to some things for us. You know, we had a special teams mishap on a snap. It was unique. You know, we didn't have our long snapper, our normal long snapper, so we actually had to move our punter, who had never long snapped, to long snapper, and had a new punter in. And for the most part in the game, he did outstanding. It was an impressive thing to see a freshman at that, to move from punter to become your long snapper, and then he's snapping to another freshman that's punting. And for the whole game, they did great, except for that one. And you know, I think a part of that was, yeah, the ball was getting slick, and, you know, we just misfired a little bit on it. But, yeah, it was, for the most part in the game, I don't think it had a great factor, but it definitely played its part at some points.
Third quarter, you put together a couple of nice drives, I think, and one ending in a 30-yard touchdown pass that ended a drive that went 9 plays, 74 yards, it looks like, and then a drive in the third quarter went over into the fourth quarter, and Romberg with another touchdown run and another 10-play drive. So you had to feel like you really were maybe getting some momentum there. You put up a 2-score lead.
Yeah, we were gaining some momentum there, and that was about the point where he came out going into the fourth quarter. So we got that last score. We actually ended up taking a delay of game because we didn't even know until we were literally going to take the field, and it was like, yeah, Joey can't go. We're like, wait, what's going on? Like, we didn't know. And so it took a little bit to kind of even like figure out what the heck was going on. All of a sudden, he just started throwing up on the sideline. So we had to adjust real quickly, and Jack Canan went in, our backup quarterback, a freshman, and he did a really good job of like kind of rallying the troops and then making the plays we needed to make to finish the game out.
Yeah, that 2-score lead, and then they got their big play of the day. It was a touchdown pass of 64 yards, and all of a sudden it's a ball game again.
Yeah, you know, we tried a corner blitz there, and our safety just didn't get in the right spot, and they hit a big play, and that was something that we had prepared for throughout the week. The guy that made the big play, he's kind of their big play threat. It was something we met about as a staff even on that Thursday. And, you know, we got out of place. He made a play, and that kind of got him back into the game and cut it to a 1-score game, gave them some momentum. And we weren't offensively able to respond to that, so it just kind of let them kind of hang around in the game at that point.
Then you take it down to the last few minutes of the ball game, under 5 minutes, I think it was, to go, and disaster strikes for you inside the 5-yard line. A fumble on your possession, and down inside the 5. Probably your biggest defensive stand of the year to keep that a 7-point ball game.
Yeah, it was huge. The first thing was, like, our defense did a great job and stopped them, and they punt to us, and our returner ends up backing up and fields the punt at the 1-yard line instead of letting it go in the end zone. So we'd have the ball on the 20, and all that stuff may not have played out the way it did had that not happened. So we were actually on our own 1, and we just tried for a quarterback sneak to get ourselves out of there. And because, yeah, like we're talking about the weather conditions, things getting slick. So we were like, well, we'll go from under center, try to get us some room, and then we'll play normal offense from there. We do a sneak, and it sounds like the play was blowing dead, but then it wasn't blowing dead, and they called it a fumble. So they recovered the fumble, and defense came up big time and stifled them. So it was huge for us.
I know, I think they started at the 2, and they lost a couple of yards. Yeah, went backwards. And then you're able to hold on a 4th down pass play, and obviously, what a great job by your defense.
Yeah, it was huge. You know, we had pretty much everyone covered down. They tried to run like a little rub type play with a flat, and maybe if they thrown the flat throw, they would have had a better shot, but they went for one of the little rub routes or pick routes, and, you know, our defender made a great job, broke up the pass, and we were able to get off the field. And then offensively, we were able to go out and generate a 1st down to be able to end up taking a knee, which was huge.
Ended up with 335 yards offense to the Luther's 281. And, you know, I was looking at some of the defensive stats, and again, second week in a row, you know, one of your seniors, Jacob Garlick, leading you at the tackle charts, and then Mike Westbrooks too. So those guys played big in their final games as Spartans.
Yeah, they did phenomenal, and they've been that way all year. They've been really consistent for us, and that's what we're striving for as a program, is to keep getting consistent players like that. Like, week in and week out, we know what we can expect, and they definitely did that all season and really set a high standard for us, you know, moving forward.
I saw Bronson Knudsen with his first career interception. Or is that one of the stats that's not right?
Yeah, I think that's probably inaccurate.
Okay.
So.
Well, you did have one interception.
Yeah. Yep.
Game. Okay. All right. I should have checked with Alex a little bit deeper on that one. He said they had a few different ones there, but that was one of the turnovers in the ball game, and 27-20 victory. You end the year with the fourth win of the season. Go out with a victory, which you always want to do, and I guess we'll talk more about that in the second segment, reflecting. But just a huge win for your guys to end the season.
Yeah, I think anytime that you can end your season with a victory, that sets you up for positive spirits going into winter workouts, and that's what our focus is on now. Like technically this week we're still in season, we're in a bye week, and our guys are over practicing right now in the indoor. We're just going back to the basics, like starting from the ground floor and working on technique, fundamentals, setting our guys up for the winter workout phase that's going to come up here real shortly. But we're not going to miss out on our bye week. I think some programs at this point, when your bye week's the last week, it's like, oh, the season's over and just start moving on. We're not going to do that. Like, we're moving on, but we're getting work in too, and our guys are all in there right now at the indoor getting ready for what's to come.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we continue here on the University of Dubuque Football Show, as we let you wrap up the season, talk about some of the highlights and just reflect. And I think one of your senior wide receivers is going to come over here, Derek Earl St. Hilaire. He's going to join us in the final segment. One of the seniors coming over to talk with us here before we wrap up the season. So we'll come back and we'll talk more with Coach Ryan Myrie, head football coach of the University of Dubuque, when we return. This is the UD Football Show here on UDSpartans.com. Of Dubuque Football Show, the final one for the 2025 season, as we're going to talk a little bit now with Coach Myrie about the season in general terms and a little bit about the offseason, that kind of thing. He answered one of my first questions before we went to the break there, where you're continuing to practice here even though it's a bye week. That's sort of an unusual circumstance to have your bye week at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's not ideal by any means. But, it is what it is, and our guys knew that. We knew it coming into the season, and we were prepared for that. And it's not unusual to me, at least in my playing experience. It was like that all my career in college, so I was used to the last week being the bye. But I also didn't want it to go to waste. Every other program got their bye week during the season, and they were able to practice and keep developing their guys. And, I want to keep doing that for our guys, too. I don't want to shortchange them on their opportunities because we only get so many. So we went right back to work.
So after the bye week is over, what does that look like then for the UD football program?
So then our next phase is the guys we'll get them some rest, get their bodies recovered, and then they'll start transitioning to winter workouts when they come back from break leading into the second semester. As a staff, we're heavy into recruiting. We have been since last January for this class. So we'll start with our recruiting visits and getting guys on campus and trying to get future Spartan commits here. And we already got a number of them, but, you know, we want to keep adding to that group and keep developing our program.
And that includes a lot of correspondence through social media, probably email, all kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, it could be whether it's social media, coach contacts, family contacts, current players and their connections. We try to leave no stones unturned. Like we're going to do everything that we can to connect with the future. And, you know, there's different means that there used to be 10, 15 years ago. And, you know, like you said, social media is a big part of that. So a lot of us aren't like, I'm not a huge fan of social media, but I know that's a big part of like my career. And if I want to be successful at this thing, then I have to be a part of it. So, you know, I have social media avenues that I use and our staff uses to be able to connect with guys and meet them where they're at. So it's really helped us over the last couple of years, and then it's going to be something that probably continues and that we got to be able to adapt to in the future too.
Well, the Spartans finish with a record of 4-6. 4 of those losses to ranked opponents at the time were receiving votes. So, you know, not the season you wanted wins and loss-wise, but, you know, as a coach, you measure a season by a lot of other measures.
Yeah, I mean, there's, we just talked to the guys about this today is, you know, it's not the season that we wanted in terms of our success on any given Saturday with the win and loss, but we do measure it on a lot of other stuff and the things that we're asking our guys to do and how they carry themselves and conduct themselves off the field. Sometimes it's hard to measure that, but we can look at how they're doing in the classroom and how they're showing up in the classroom. And those things, where we're at right now versus where we were at a year ago, is night and day different. And I believe that the stuff that we expect to see on the football field, that stuff will start to translate sooner rather than later because they're doing all the things that we're asking them to do from a day-to-day basis. And it's just a matter of time that it's going to happen. It's not an if thing, it's a win thing. And I believe that win is coming up soon.
Well, I know you were a very young team. I mean, you have 19 seniors, I think 19 juniors are in that neighborhood by my count, and then everybody else freshmen and sophomores. So we talked about that coming into the season that, you know, you had a lot of young players, and so you were, you know, looking at that as you came in, and going to be a learning curve for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get thrust into things without having to get the physical development side, let alone the mental side of it, there's going to be some growing pains there and some challenges. And we had great senior leadership. We have some juniors that are really good leaders, and they'll help bring those young guys along, and they have, and that's why they were able to participate this year. I mean, most of our special teams, if you look at it, it was a lot of freshmen and sophomores out there. So there was a lot of mistakes that were made, but those are things that we're going to be able to learn from and help us capitalize in years to come with that. And, you know, defensively, we were a lot more veteran, and offensively we were not. And, you know, you could see those two differences on any given Saturday when we're playing on the field, like in terms of mistakes and plays that weren't made that could be made. And I believe all those things, as we do a deep dive into it, those things will continue to show, and we got to keep working at those as a staff and then as a program to right those things, those wrongs.
Every season has its own challenges, obstacles, things you're not expecting, and obviously highlights too. Sort of talk about that. I mean, the Key City Clash victory there, homecoming win, and a lot of other great highlights.
Yeah, I mean, you know, our victories are what they were, but even in the losses, you know, there was a lot of takeaways that we can use to help grow our program. And like, I just look at them as stepping stones to our future success. I don't really look at them as losses like a detriment to our program. I look at them as opportunities for us to grow if we choose to look at it that way. And I think if we get caught up in, oh, wins and losses, 4-6, you know, we're a bad program, like, that's not the case. It's just those were what happened on that Saturday, but that's not indicative of what our future looks like. And so we're going to keep working at those things. And, you know, the Loras win was a big one. You know, almost beating Stout would have been a big one if we had finished it. And those two games, there was goods and there was good things and there were not good things. One turned out in a loss, one turned out in a victory. So I think we just got to look at them objectively and not just off of a win or a loss. Like, I leave a lot of wins that even if you win by 50, you come out of it and you're like, dang, there was a lot of things that we didn't do very well there, and we got to find a way to make them right. And there's losses that, dang, we played our butts off, and we still got things that we got to work on that get better at, so we come out with a victory. And I think if we just look at it like, oh, it's 4-6 and it's a win or it's a loss, like, that's not what it's about. So, you know, I think for us, it's just continue to focus on what we believe in, our values. You know, I believe in what we're doing and that we're doing the right things, and we just got to keep having faith in that, and the success that we desire is going to eventually come. And, you know, there was some things that happened this year that I've never dealt with as a player, or as a coach. You know, we can go back to the Central game with Blake, and I hope to never experience something like that again. I hope our players never have to experience something like that again. And unfortunately, that's a part of the game too. Like, injuries happen to that extent. Like, that was just something that I haven't even unpacked all of that yet. Like, that's something I still have to go through through the off season and kind of work through those things. And I know our players need to as well, and the rest of our staff. So those are some things that you know, we're gonna work through. We're gonna work through it together, and, you know, come back better.
As you close the books on the 2025 season, and there's more than just the head coach, obviously, to thank for things, and I don't want you to leave anybody out, you know, obviously, but
Oh man.
yeah, you didn't bring your list along, but
Yeah.
you know, but all your assistants and
I mean, the first thing that I'm going to thank is, you know, my wife and my family. You know.
We should have probably had her up here for one of our segments, maybe next year.
Yeah, I mean, I always got to thank my family first, and, you know, putting up with me through the season and going through all of this, you know, and our coaching staff and their families and significant others, and you know, they put up with a lot that goes unseen, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for our families, you know, of our players. You know, I think a lot of that goes unnoticed too. They did a great job with support and, you know, meals and donated money for our travel, like getting snacks for the guys. Like that was phenomenal. That was, again, like when you look at highlights of the season, like our parent and our support, our parents and their support, I mean, shoot, that was, I didn't even expect any of that. So, like, to have that support was outstanding, and just phenomenal families that we have in our program. And that says a lot about the kids that we have in our program and how they showed up every week, even through the trials and tribulations that we were facing. And I think that says a lot about them and how they were raised. And that's going to continue to just keep growing and getting better. Thankful for, you know, the guys in here, Nathan, Paul, and Alex, and, you know, putting this stuff on for us, and, you know, the support that we get from them, and just like a lot of unseen things. Our maintenance crew, like, their field looks amazing every week. Like, I think they do an outstanding job, and they do a great job for the campus, but even every Thursday they're out there, like, combing the field for our home games, and that stuff all looks amazing. Our athletic training staff has been outstanding. They're always there supporting our guys. Their job is one of the hardest on campus. You know, there's not many athletic trainers, and they got about 1 million kids to work with, and they're just nonstop working. Our strength and conditioning program, they do a great job in being there for our guys all season and all year round. Like, they're with our guys more than we are as coaches, so they do an outstanding job for us, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for you, like the support and coverage that you give to our program, you know, every Thursday, and then coming here on Monday night, giving up your evening to, you know, come be a part of our program, and then even on Saturdays for home games, you know, you're a part of a lot of that. And I think those are things, like, it's sometimes not a very thankful job. Like, the people aren't out, like, calling up Tim, like, hey, thanks for giving us coverage, you know, and so I appreciate that. And you know, it's meaningful for our program, and any exposure that we can get, and you're kind of the forefront of that and leading it. Like, that's meaningful for us and for me. So yeah, and the list is almost endless. Like, I could go on and on, but, you know, I'm thankful for, and I have a lot of gratitude for the support of our program and the people that are a part of it.
Well said. Lots of folks that play a part in a successful football program. And Coach, I appreciate your time coming up here on Monday nights and also through the season as well. And I think we're gonna get a chance to meet Derek. Do I see him out there? Is he out in the hallway? Yeah. Oh, there he is. Okay. All right. right, Derek. Okay, he's hiding behind the doorway there. But Derek Earl St. Hilaire, talk about him a little bit. One of your seniors before we turn you loose.
Yeah, so I'll call him by DK because he'll probably get mad at me for saying his full name. But DK's like someone that, again, like he's one of my sons. Like I've grown really close with him over the last couple of years. You know, since day one I got here, a lot of these older guys have really bought into, you know, the vision and what we're working to build here. And he's been a great leader for our program on and off the field. He's a, you know, residence hall director as a GA right now, and he's made great connections with all of our players, but even around campus he's well known. And like I couldn't ask for a better leader for this program, and what he's done for the receiving room with those guys and helping develop our younger group. And you know, I think everyone looks up to him and what he represents, and he's a man of faith, and the way he acts and the way he carries himself, it shows. And yeah, if my kids grow up to be like him, like I'm going to be really happy.
We'll look forward to meeting DK when he comes over here in just a moment. Coach, again, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Tim.
And we'll talk to you next season when this time of year rolls around.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right. Ryan Meyer, head football coach of the University of Dubuque, joining us here for a final time for the 2025 UD Football Show. And we'll come back and meet DK here in just a moment. Football show here on this Monday evening, and as we mentioned, we're going to talk with Spartan wide receiver Derek Earl St. Hilaire, or DK as he's better known around campus. And Derek, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on the program.
You too. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Well, let's talk about the Spartan season. First of all, can you believe it's come to an end for you? This is your senior year. I mean, the ride goes pretty quickly.
Oh, it happened as fast as it's ending. I woke up Sunday morning just thinking about the conditioning test and how we took that in August and how it's already done, and just everything's kind of surreal because you've been here a while. I'm from Florida, so this is like new to me in the Midwest. I'm like, wow, my time here is pretty much over, and it's insane. But I think I appreciate everything that I've had through this time this season. I think I've learned so much from this season. Like, it's been more than just about football in terms of our team and our program. I think the boys, I don't think I've loved a more group of boys than the ones that we had this season. So
you were the veteran leader, one of the veterans of two seniors on that wide receiver core.
Yes, sir.
You know, talk about that role that you had, sort of helping bring up the young guys and show them the ropes a little bit.
The coaches, I'm thankful that they were able to trust in me to be able to guide the guys. And I don't know if you know, you probably do, is Cameron Bryce of last year, who was the senior for us, kind of gives me feedback throughout the week on how to better lead, and I hope the guys like learn something, but they're leaders within themselves. You got great guys, Khalif Freeman, Kyle Harper, Blake Heffron. He'll lead them in ways that, you know, you won't see on the field, but you'll see like mentally in the aspect of that game. So I think what I did here was pretty small compared to what they'll do for each other in the long term of things. So
you still made some pretty big plays, though, this season. Almost 500 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns, first in yards per catch. And so, you know, your mark was made this season on the field as a senior as well, and just one of 19 seniors in the Spartan class. So, you know, I think great things are ahead for this UD program.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're heading in the right direction. I don't think our record has anything to do with where we're heading as a program. I think for the first time in a long time since I've been here, there's guys who are actually buying. We're more than just a team. This is more than just about football. It's a family here. And I think that family will carry on for the success of this team starting next Monday for 226. So I'm excited to see what that looks like, and definitely coming back to watch my boys play, because even though I might not be shooting up with them, I'm still a member of this team, you know.
As you mentioned, you are a native of Florida, Lauderhill, Florida. Talk about that, the Miami area.
Oh, man, I can't wait to go back home. I'll tell you that.
After this weekend, probably.
Oh, my. It's 30-something degrees here, and back home it's like 72.
I did see that before I came here. I checked the weather and saw there was 74. So obviously, did everybody tell you that it was going to be like this? Did you have any clue?
No clue. Believe it or not, I didn't know Iowa was a state when I got here. So it was a very, very rude awakening for me. But while my time's here, there's been so much like beautiful things happening in my life. My mom's just healed from cancer. My brothers have had kids. I'm an uncle. It's beautiful. My older brother's getting married, so it's like going back home. It's actually getting to connect with my family a little bit more, just being around them, and it's kind of cool. Just really excited for that, seeing that chapter of my life, being able to be a man, and I've never let football be the ultimate value. It's always been family to me, and I can't wait to like see that go forward as I keep going in my life.
That's awesome. You're a business major here at the University of Dubuque. Any plans for what you're going to do when you get that degree?
My plan is to go into corporate banking. One of my goals is to be Green Bay Packers financial advisor, because that's my favorite team. But I took an internship about 2 years ago at Bank of America. It was pretty cool. Managed like assets of Topgolf and stuff like that. And I never thought numbers would be my thing, but numbers are my thing, and people as well, so I can connect to people. And I don't want to be one of those bankers who chooses money over people or anything like that. I'm a very like faithful guy. I feel like choosing someone and making sure that they feel heard, their decisions and stuff like that, that's what I want to do. I want to change someone's life, so yeah.
DK, pleasure meeting you. Thanks for coming up here, and much success to you when you leave the University of Dubuque campus. Thanks a lot, and thanks for the mark you made with the UD football program.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having
me. You betcha. All right, that is DK, or Derek Earl St. Hilaire, joining us here this evening on our UD football show, and that is going to put a wrap on the University of Dubuque football show. Once again, said thanks to Nathan over there, in-studio producer each week. Thanks to him for taking the time setting up before the show and rolling the cameras and putting our makeup on, that kind of thing. Just teasing on that one. But thanks to Paul Meisner and also Alex McCombs with the Sports Information Department providing information for us here on the UD Football Show. So again, thanks for tuning in. Been another great season from Chalmers Field for the University of Dubuque Football Show. I'm Tim Larry.